Tonight will be one of the hottest, most anticipated, most excited night that you're going to be experiencing with your strategic partners because we have a manifestation queen. Many people usually ask, why me, God? Why me? Why is everything going wrong? did everything the right way. Well, you're going to actually get a little bit of a lesson as how no matter how bad it could be, no matter how horrible, terrible things are for you right now, you can turn it around just like that. This is your Strategic Partner Podcast. Let's go.
Drinks on me, girls on me, on the dance floor, all eyes on me. Who is he? Then you better come get your girls off. All eyes on me, party like a rock star. You can find me in VIP. All eyes on me, yeah, where the girls are. This is how your night should be. All eyes on me,
all eyes on the prize, money super size, G5 super fly, should be supervised. Do or die, open up your eyes, head to the sky, keep a mean bad mommy on the side. Make a tsunami, kamikaze on the mind, spit flow, paparazzi flash shine, get dough, champagne, Merlot, cash and tango, in the VIP, now she wanna touch her ankle, get low, mueve mami como el dembow, all eyes on me, peeping through the window, get mine, get yours, believe it or not, in the meantime, I'ma keep my eyes on the
all
top.
eyes on me, drinks on me, girls on me, on the dance floor, all eyes on me. Who is he? Man, you better come get your girls out. All eyes on me, party like a rock star. You can find me in VIP. All eyes on me, yeah, where the girls are. This is how your night should be.
Oh, what up, 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 what up? It is yours truly, Ali Madawi, your strategic partner, and I am so excited, delighted, and I cannot hide it. I got before you your strategic partners, the one and only from North Carolina, the man, the myth, the legend, to Koyo Carlton in the building. What's up, boss?
What's going on, Doc? Hey, listen, super excited. This has been an incredible week. First of all, I went to Virginia on Monday, got to follow up on the heart transplant. Got a call today that everything is good, zero rejections.
Let's go.
The heart is ticking, and guys, we're excited. Let's go.
Love it, love it. All the way from Florida, the young, the sweet, the amazing, the innovator, the one and only Ali D in the building. What's up, Rockstar? How was your week? Have you ever found yourself saying, why me? I've done everything right and it's still not working out. Or, why I never get to make money online, or I never get to have it my way. I never win. All those negative thoughts that end up becoming a reality, because a lot of people would tell me, I don't believe in the law of attraction. I don't believe in the power of manifestation. I'm like, you're doing it right now. The fact that you're saying it, you're manifesting that negative idea that you have of, all that stuff is garbage. Yes, you're right, because it's going to end up being garbage in your life if you don't make a change. Well, today we have a rock star, a superstar, a powerful woman. It's probably one of the highest, if not the highest profile that we have had in the program. And she not only is heavily involved, engaged, partnered up, working with, collectively creating events and programs for organizations like Think and Grow Rich Foundation, and working with the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and involved with the LA Tribune, and involved with working with many of the cast from The Secret. She has an event coming up with Kevin Harrington and so many other billionaires and hecton millionaires. And she happens to be highlight speakers at all of these events. And she is just an amazing, I call her queen every time I talk to her, because she is a manifestation queen. Her story is powerful. And the reason I want all of you to hear her story today, because she started from the bottom and now she's here. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up to the one and only, the queen herself, Adora Crystal Evans. What's up?
What's up?
I'm in a howl with you.
Indeed. How you doing? You ready to rock?
I am ready to rock. Ali, I need to tell you though, and Debbie, I did a long time ago, I can't even remember the year, but Beyonce did it. And so I followed, and it was this lemonade, cayenne pepper, water. And that's all you ate for you didn't eat, you drank for 30 days. Let me tell you something that happened. Like you, I will never do that shiz again. And two, here's what else happened. This was the wildest thing. I walked into the grocery store. Maybe my mouth is starting to water thinking of this. It was like day 3 or day 4. I walked in the grocery store and I experienced what animals must experience. I know we're a type of animal, but we have all the luxuries. In my map, in my nose, I felt a map, like I could smell the mint is over there, the cucumber is over. It was the wildest thing. In hindsight, that's probably called starvation. But I remember going, I kind of relate now to what dogs are smelling, I think.
It's so funny.
It's amazing.
But good for you for keeping your word and discipline. Like, I know we're about to dive into manifesting, but our words create realities. And the more we keep our own word to ourselves and to other people, the more powerful and potent our words actually become, because then they're loaded with integrity and action and history and all that in it. So it's powerful.
Well, Queen, I'm gonna start with this. I know your story because I've heard it a couple of times. A lot of people would hear the introduction and they're like, man, she's got it made. She's part of every event we dream of. She's part of like the crowds we dream to be around, working with Dennis Whiteley directly, having him as an actual friend, not just working with. So can you go back to those who's like, she's got it easy in life, and let them know how it actually began? If you don't mind, if you can just highlight that chapter 1 and give us a fast forward to why it all came into creation. And trust me, our strategic partners and the audience will have some questions for you as well. So I hope you're ready to play.
Awesome. Yeah. So I love to tell this story now because of what you just said, because it's so easy when we see other people to think like they've got something that you don't, or they came in and with some special something that you don't have. But I'll start this story. This entrepreneurial journey started for me specifically at 17. I just turned 18. I was 18 years old, and I was living in a boarded up home. It literally had the boards on it. I was allowed to either fix it up a little or pay $50 a month for rent by a gracious family. And I was already the town scandal because I had been married in high school at 17. I ran away in the middle of the night. And I was supposed to say prayer at graduation. I ran away. I was married at 17, ran away in the middle of the night with another guy, and didn't even stay with that guy. There was no reason I could really explain in the moment, and for many years, why I even did that. But here I am in this little town in a boarded up home, and I didn't have electricity. There also wasn't sheetrock in most of that home. And I had already been through abandonment, molestation, lots of things that are part of many, many, many of us who've come into earth at this time. And life was looking really bleak because I thought, I messed it up even with God, with the big guy, like, now what? And then someone came into the jewelry store I was working in, and she was sharing her before and after weight loss journey. And then she started sharing with me that there was a business opportunity and that I could help people like she was helping people. And, that I could, yes, try this weight loss journey, but, I could also just come right in as a business, get it, da-da-da-da. Anyway, instead of paying for my electricity, I invested in this distributor kit. And inside of the distributor kit was a Walkman radio, or not a Walkman radio. That would be amazing. But there was a cassette tape that I could play on a Walkman radio, a battery operated Walkman radio. And it was by Jim Rohn. And so Jim Rohn was talking about, hey, you're headed in a direction. You're going to arrive based on at this direction. He said, basically, you're in this metaphorical sailboat, and you're going to arrive at a destination because you're headed there. And you can tell where you're headed by the choices you've already made, by the family you come from, and I was thinking, oh no, this is not good at all. And then he said, but the good news is, if you don't like your destination, all you have to do is set your sail in a new direction. And it may take you longer than other people, but you will eventually arrive at that new destination. And you've got to imagine that the lights are dim, and, you know, I'm just in there feeling like he's talking right to me, and like, wow, there is hope for me. Like, there's a path if I just, and so I dug right in. He said, get into the library, you know, first he said, find mentors. And I thought, oh no one's going to mentor me. And then he said, get into the library. And
I have to admit, there's one piece, and I don't know, Takoyo, like he and I both like looked when you said, instead of paying my electric bill, I went and I bought a district. Can you please help me understand? Because you didn't listen to Jim Rohn then.
No.
You know, what was it that your brain said, yeah, don't pay the electric bill. Go for this opportunity that has zero guarantees that you're going to get anything out of it?
Yeah. Well, you know, I was already living without electricity. I was already, you know, in the spot that I was in. I was already at the best place that I could take myself with my own tools and skills. And there was something about both the topic that the woman was offering. I was really passionate about health and well-being, and the opportunity I just felt it. I heard the opportunity to find a way. And I've got to be right back and be honest with you that I look back and I go, I don't know where that came from, but I thank God for it every day. That little fight that says, you know what? Like, even though all my mind chatter was saying, you're so dumb, you've messed up, you're guilt, shame, blah, 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 you're not worth it, you're not like anyone else. I had all the things going, but there was something in me that kept reaching, you know, for that next, like, okay, and that would take action. And so, yeah, it wasn't, some people would say it wasn't wise. It wouldn't have been wise if I didn't go in there and get to work. And we've all made those choices at some point. Most entrepreneurs have at some point, but ultimately that one choice set me on a pathway of growth and improvement and entrepreneurship that absolutely, I say I had a spiritual awakening, and then I had an entrepreneurial awakening. And it was this ability to, I heard one of your speakers say, it does on another event, it doesn't matter from Yale to jail, right? If you, but it's the same thing. We all, no matter where you're coming from and what your excuses are, we all have access to resources. And that was my, you know, God, spirit, whatever you said, that woman putting her hand out and giving me the opportunity to step in.
Yeah, and I know our strategic partners have a few questions, but I promise one last one, and I'll pass it on to you, ladies and gentlemen. So the Adora Evans that we see and know today, the manifestation queen herself, can you help me understand, where did that woman come from? Like, where were you born as the new you that you are right now? Because I don't know, maybe I'm naive to believe that you didn't just get into an opportunity, listen to Jim Rohn, and the next morning you're like, I got it. So help walk through that experience.
Absolutely. First of all, I want to say that I think every single person, we do innately come with certain gifts, callings, blessings, whether you recognize them or not, whether or not your life pointed them out for you, whether you sabotage, got addicted to, like it, we all come with a certain amount of something, right? And so I need to be grateful and thankful for that first, and say that's true for each of us. But listening to Jim Rohn, and even after my spiritual awakening, I was set on this path of, the next person I listened to was Tony Robbins and his 30-day personal power program. It was also on cassette tapes. They used to come in a big set of volume. You know what I'm talking about? I see your faces. I did too, right? I did it.
80s baby here, guilty.
Yeah, right. And it was so worth it. So Tony sold me on so Jim Rohn sold me on, even if you don't believe in yourself, but you believe in me right now, then believe in my belief in you. And I held that. And then Tony sold me on constant and never ending improvement, right? So I committed. And what I saw is I was taking massive ignorance on fire. We've heard it called action on everything I was learning. And I had a one-time check for around $8,000. And I had my relationships up level. Now, look, I love to share this part too, because in that moment, in those moments, there were times where I was naive enough to think like, it's all straight up from here. It's all straight up because now I've hit the holy grail of, constant and never ending learning, resources, mentorship. I know how to apply this stuff, but I still had all my old subconscious beliefs and baggage and things to be able to work through. So I like to say my growth was more like the stock market on the rise, or right now, if you're in crypto at all, you know what I'm talking about. It has this up, down, up, down. So I went from up and then had another down where I found myself divorced and dancing as a stripper in a nightclub. I was still reading the books and using it to make it rain. That is so wrong to say, but anyway, I was using the tools and the sales tools. I was drinking Red Bull. All the bartenders knew like to make my shots water or juice or whatever. But I knew it ultimately wasn't where I wanted to end up, and that the places that I wanted to be and the vision that was put in my heart. And so I found a way to move myself out of that phase in my life. And again, it continued to go up. My dog, just a moment. It continued to go kind of up, down, but on a consistent rise. And I think that's so important for people to know, because a lot of times people get started, they get enthused, they get the feels about something, their vision, a business, a way they're going to contribute to people or who they're going to help. They get momentum, and then a challenge happens. And often, especially if you're growing, you come up against old beliefs, old identities, fears, some kind of roadblock. You overspend, you don't deliver what you say, or something happens, right? And then people can think, I need to go back to more Tony Robbins. I need to get a different certification.
Isn't that funny?
It's so right. And it's like, I heard Louise Hay say this once, and it was liberating for me. And I hope it liberates us all together here once again, fresh. I saw her at 80 something years old, and she was going to do this tapping with Nick Ortner. And he said, where do you want to tap? And he said, what are you working on? And she said, I've got a tension headache in the back of my head. And he said, why, okay. And she said, it's the place my father used to stick his thumb and push my head underwater to punish me. And people went, oh, you could tell he was a little surprised. And he goes, I think people, you're the Louise Hay who's helped millions of people, and you've published all these authors, and she's one of my people that helped me. And he said, and here you are at 83, I think was her age, and you're working on this. And she goes, you know what? I've done a lot of work on this, and it's moved a lot, but it's still there. So here we go. And I remember watching her and going, wow, she's one of my mentors, like a super meaningful mentor. She's a complete masterpiece. And wow, she's also a work in progress. And I remember thinking, I'm a masterpiece and a work in progress, and being like, permission granted. All right, Adora, it's all right. It's going to be messy. It's not going to be perfect. And I think that's another important part. People get paralyzed thinking they're going to wait till they arrive at this place but you don't. Like you get better in the game. You get better in the game. I think you should have coaches, mentors, support, get the best resources for getting better. But, it's still a game that you got to be in it, playing it, rather than thinking about it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm gonna yield my time to my strategic partners. Go for it, Debbie.
We're going to jump over each other. I can see it already.
Ladies.
We are
I
ready.
know. I'm jumping in real quick. I'm going to go first today. Okay, so
Hey, Ali Midawi here, the author of The Lion Network Marketer. You may be one of the 47,000 people who have purchased the original book 5 years ago, but today we have recorded the audiobook version. But for every chapter from 2016's launch, we've added a new chapter from 2020. Pick up your copy today at no cost to you in winwithali.com.
that was great. I wanted to jump in first because I just wanted to piggyback off of what you said about how, like, you know, we wait for this moment to arrive, and like many of you guys know my story, but like I was an addict, you know, heroin addict, and I've overcome a lot of things and trauma in my life and toxic relationships, and you know, for a while I was working on fixing myself, right? And I just needed to get to a place where like I was fully like recovered, and not just from like the drug abuse, but like I was back to who I used to be before all that happened, right? And it took me a while to learn this, but like that's not realistic, because you can't just like go back to who you were, right? These experiences have changed you, and you may see it as a negative, but if you do the work, right, you can see it as a positive, and the lessons I've learned and who I am now. And so if I just waited, you know, for the moment when I was fixed, or right, or when those emotions went away, when I didn't have you know, flashbacks to me what's happened before, like, oh, then I'd be better. But I've had to learn, right, that I'm who I am now, and like all the things that I've been through have made me who I am, and I'm never fully going to like get rid of those memories, right? And that's okay, because that's a lesson, right? And that's how we can help others through things as well. So yeah, that just like hit home for me, because for so long I was like, I just need to fix myself. I'm gonna do this work. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be like how I used to be. These things won't bother me anymore. But you know, when you share that this lady at 83 still has moments, right, where she flashes back to things that have happened to her and trauma, like that's okay. We're constantly a work in progress.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. I was covered in chills. That's huge. And look, if you're in this transformational game, even when you think you got it all done, you're going to be now fixing the nation's problems, your grandchildren's. You're going to start, some spiritual healers, you'll know what I'm talking about. You're going to start working on past lives and other dimensions. And, you're always going to, because that's who you are. You're about contribution. You're about evolution, right? So you got to get comfortable with that dance, comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right on.
It's amazing stuff. Great stuff. And I don't think there's anything I haven't actually hit up in my 59 years. Like I've been there, done that, had that happen, right? And I think, like you were saying, Adora, what's so liberating is if we understand that we never arrive. We never arrive. We are constantly on the journey. And I tell people all the time, just wait a second, something will change. Right? Just wait a second and something else is going to change. That's what life is. Right? That's what life is. It is that journey. It is the bumpy road. And for some reason, we don't think that. We think we're going to arrive at that destination and life is going to be just rainbows and unicorns.
Yeah.
It's not happening. I mean, guys, love you. You need to understand that's not what's going to happen. But Adora, I really have a question I wanted to ask you, talking about manifesting, because I've been doing personal work since I was 14 and a half was my first self-help book that I actually started reading, and Tony Robbins, everything you said. I had the cassettes, I had the whole bit. And, I happen to work with a lot of women. And one of the things that I find with women is they have a difficult time manifesting or visioning for their lives. Right. Now, I have my own personal, as a psychologist, understanding of why I think that's the case. But why do you think that women specifically have such a hard time manifesting?
Go ahead, Ali. Or
No,
Ali.
so I was just saying that's me. I have like really struggled with this topic. Yeah, so yeah, let me hear your answer.
Is it for you, Ali? Is it visualizing specifically or desiring your next
I
level?
think for me it's believing that I have the power to like change things, right? Like I can visualize it, I can see what I want, I can see myself like getting there, but it's a matter that I hold that power, I guess, is where I struggle with, that I'm strong enough, that my thoughts are powerful enough to change things, you know, and not to go long on this, but like, you know, people say, oh, well, you've come so far, right? Like I said, I was a heroin addict, right? And so I've made changes along the way, but I didn't see that as like manifestation. And maybe I'm just looking at it all wrong. I was just like, I just put in the work, right? And so, but believing that my thoughts are powerful enough to change, that's where I struggle.
This is awesome. I can't wait to hear from both of you some more. But yeah, so I think for women, specifically women and men, one of our greatest survival instincts is the ability to adapt. And so you'll find that people, even in really bad situations, will soon start to get comfortable there as an ability to adapt. So it's in our survival to, you know, chill out where we are. And often if we have shut down in our mind or our hearts that, you know, there isn't something else possible, then women especially will plant flowers there. We'll decorate it, we'll nest, you know. And so we won't, I've found myself at times, you know, thinking, and this is an area where I deal with it still, because I think it's always a process. So, you know, I'm divorced and my kids live here in Dallas. Now, 2 of the kids are men, so, but I have one daughter who's 10. And before Dallas, I always lived in beautiful nature, like ocean, or Egypt was beautiful in a different way, right? But I always lived in places like that. And so I shut down for a little bit, even imagining living outside of Dallas, Texas. Because why? Because I'm adapting to, well, my, you know, and then I realized this is a limiter. You have no clue. You have no clue. And when I shut down the right to desire something that I desire, it doesn't just work that that's the only thing that shuts down. It kind of shuts down the whole box of vision, because it's like you're telling yourself, no, don't want too much. No, don't, you know, or maybe you get in a relationship and you're like, well, they don't like this, they don't like that, so I'm going to adapt to that and I'm not going to, but the key is being able to come back in and going, play a little game. And I did play a game like this. This is a great story, so bear with me. One day I was in this, like, okay, I realized I had been adapting a lot. And I went, I'm just going to play, like pretend I'm on beaches all around the world again. I'm traveling. I'm flying in private jets again. And I saw myself in these gorgeous white suits and I saw the people and I just had a really great time. And then I said this little prayer of like, yes, I say divine masculine, you know, I'm allow myself to receive and to be pampered and, you know, delight and surprise me. Well, as soon as I got out of that little meditation, one of my best girlfriends who was living in Hawaii at the time, I had a text message from her and it said, hey girl, can you come stay with me in Hawaii for 10 days? I have half your flight and everything covered when you get here. That message was there. And then check this out. The next morning, I was supporting my boyfriend and his Ironman, and we were newer, and I was in there, you know, and here's another clue. So before this, I was thinking, he needs to do this, he needs to do that, he needs to do this. And instead, I went, he needs to do him, I need to bless him, and you need to take care of me. Spirit, you know what I want. You're my pamperer, you're my provider, right? And so what happened is we're up at 4 a.m. getting ready for his, you know, races and stuff. And I get another message. and it's a girlfriend of mine. And then look at these girls coming in clutch, right? But it's a girlfriend of mine, and she says, what's the nearest airport to you? And I said, Redbird. And she goes, can you meet me there around lunchtime? Her husband was a pilot, right? And they had a plane. And she goes, we're going to meet you at the airport. I'd love to see you. It's like, oh, I'm so excited. So I get there. You guys, the prayer was the day before. I want you to remember that. Okay. So we get there, and she goes, we're going to go up in the plane, and you're going to sit in the passenger seat. So I'm in the front seat. My boyfriend's in the back seat. Janine's in the back. Rob's next to me. And we're up in the freaking air in a private plane. And then he goes, you're about to fly this plane. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, you're going to fly it. So I'm flying a freaking plane. My friend Mesa said it so beautifully. She said, look what you did. You gave it to God, and he put you in the clouds. That's how he delivers.
Let's go.
Let's go.
No, I love that. I love that. That is a real example. Like, not a lot of people will talk about it, right? Or they teach what Bob Proctor has taught in some YouTube video, but you actually experienced it. And I'm grateful for that. We're going to take a little bit of a break. I want to remind everybody at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, yours truly is bringing the heat. It is hot seat night and open Q&A for all of our Influencer Attraction Media members. If you are not a member just yet, man, go to im.media. It is scrolling right down there. im.media, and make sure you click on ME Academy and join us. It literally is about $1.50 a day. So if you had a latte today or McDonald's, shame on you for not investing in you. We're going to be seeing you at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with yours truly. And then right this second, we're going to take a little bit of a switch up, because we're going to go to our homegirl, Ali D, with a segment that she had started last week, and she blessed us and got us all excited. Just gave us a whole lot of nuggets. Ali D has herself transformed her life, not only personally over the years, but in the last 2 years, I've seen her go from I am shy and terrified to becoming a blossom coach, trainer, mentor to so many individuals. And I'm so excited that I am her strategic partner. Ladies and gentlemen, Ali D with a segment we like to call Let's Balance. Take it away, sis.
Thank you so much for that. Yes. So for today's Let's Balance segment, I want to talk just a minute about rest and how important it is to take some time to rest. We get in this hustle mode, right? And that can be great. We go on these 90-day runs, or we're just hustling in our business. We're working on a lot of things, and it can be exciting and fun. And it may not even feel like work to you. And that's great. But we have to remember to take some time to rest. And this can be a physical rest, right? If you are going all the time and you're not getting enough sleep, again, you can be so excited and not really feel the overwhelm or burnout or anything, but your body will eventually, it will catch up to you, right? So you have to be in tune with yourself enough to know when you need to rest, and to know that it's okay to rest. I struggled so hard with that, being like, I have so much to do and I'm so excited about it, and I'll rest later, and it will catch up to you, right? You'll catch up to you, and you'll be working when your mind is not your best, right? Because you're forcing yourself to keep working, to keep making things better, to keep tweaking things, whatever it is, right? And your body physically needs rest to perform, right? So I want to remind you to do that, to take some time. And that could mean taking a day off. It can mean going to bed a little bit earlier one night, allowing yourself to sleep in a little bit, taking a weekend, whatever it is that you feel that you need to refresh your mind and your body. Sometimes rest can just look like taking a nice long shower, right? Like, it doesn't have to be a whole day off or anything, but giving yourself time to recuperate and to regain the mental strength that you need. But not just physically rest, right? Like I said, you need to mentally rest, and physically resting can allow your mind to rest. But another way of doing that is to stop forcing things, right, in your business. Maybe you're really focused on something and you are really trying to write that piece of content, or you're really trying to come up with new messaging, or you're just, again, you can be enjoying it, but you're just really pushing your mind past where it needs to be, right? Your body, again, is being in tune with your body and knowing when you need to rest. And the last thought with this is sometimes you need to step back right? And regroup yourself in order to really launch forward. So don't think as taking rest, being weak, or going to push you back. Or I used to think like, oh, if I take a rest, I'm going to be 3 steps back from where I want to be my business. I'm going to fall back. Don't think of it like that. Think of it as the ability to really refresh your mind, regroup your thoughts. Things will come to you clearer again, and it'll help you launch forward even faster. So that is my Let's Balance segment for today.
Woo! Powerful, short and sweet. And she ain't no short, but she's definitely sweet. We appreciate you, Ali D. Always bringing the heat. All right, Mr. Takoya Carlton, I know you have either something to share or ask Adora Evans, because you've been behaving. Usually you're like, I'm going to ask my questions, but you just said there, let the ladies have their time. So I'll about pass it to you, partner.
So the ladies were doing their thing. I can't deny it. I was really just sitting back and just letting them do the thing. They was doing their thing. So, but anyways, guys, real quick, one of the things I really grasped, and I tried to take some notes as fast as I could, because you was going at it, right? You was saying so many good things, and I just remember how just going through my journey personally too as well. When I first got into the industry, first started doing business, when I got out the military, and I was driving taxi, right? And I had joined a business, and it was given to me a Jim Rome tape. And I just remember, and I listened to that tape, literally the same tape for months and months, the same exact tape over and over and over. And it just put something in me. And of course, it wasn't just the Jim Rome tape. It was the things that were happening around me. It was the things that I was going through, because I think no one's successful. I don't think anyone can go be successful without struggle. Like, you have to be going through something that leads you to that. So all Jim Rome was a conduit that really said, you know what, go do it. Like Jim Rome, he says, like, buy 2 bikes, right? One to ride, one to rent, right? And so I got excited about that when you said that, Jim Rome. I love that. And then, of course, you talked about setting up the sail. You got to set, your sail. I mean, we go through life and we're just living in other people's, dreams and doing what they want, especially as a mother. It's that caring and nurturing spirit that we have, that women have, that again sometimes delays their success or gratification, because there's so much about pleasing other people instead of pleasing themselves. So I heard that in you for a little bit, but when you got started in the business, you were exposed to something different. You were exposed to different people. You were exposed to mentors. You were exposed to coaches. And I think that's where so many people lack their breakthrough, is that they keep trying to do it on their own. Right?
Yeah,
and
that's huge. And you nailed that Jim Rohn accent, by the way. Say that line again. Say that line again.
One to ride, one to rent.
There.
No, I love it. And Takoya, spot on. The interesting thing is sometimes we are so consumed by the external circumstances that we forget about our greatness that is within. And once we kind of get, Adora refers to it as a spiritual awakening, or just a reality check for many of us that, like, wake up, you're better than this. I think that's when we start seeing things that were always there right in front of us, right? When you want to buy a car and you know what car you want to buy, all of a sudden you see it everywhere. That's not something magical that really happened. It's just you now are actually clear about what you want, so you start seeing it. So it's sometimes just a little bit of a change in your direction or where things are going, or kind of fix the right numbers or the right address in order for the GPS to get you to that final destination that you want to take. What do you got, Adora? Hi, my name is Ali Midawi, and I have spoken over 500 conferences in 3 languages, including TEDx and many Fortune 100 companies, sold books in 7 countries, and I focus on helping struggling entrepreneurs to leverage social media and the digital space to create brand equity and revenue. Visit me today at winwithali.com and let me show you how we can grow your financial bottom line and help you expand with momentum.
Yeah, I agree so much. And I want to say a little bit more about women and manifesting, but also men, because there are a lot of great men. I think we all have masculine and feminine energy inside of us. And I use those because they're the best labels I have to describe it. But you could put it in yin yang, you could put it however you want to put it, and there are a lot of very caring men in the personality types. They might show up as a yellow, right? They work in nonprofits, they're mentors, so I think they would struggle with some of the same things of meeting everybody else's needs, but their own. But why I think women, and why I feel super called to help people understand the feminine side, or the slow down side of manifesting, is because most of our society is geared toward go, 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 do, achieve, be, have, make it happen. And I personally have a major part of myself that I'm like that. And I love that. I love it about myself. It's the part of me that took action on the things that I read and all of that. But there's another part. And our society, here's the challenge, our society really honors what did you achieve? What did you do? And we have constant stimulation, and almost to where people aren't comfortable if it's quiet, right? If it's quiet, I'm uncomfortable because where's the noise, right? And that's all right. But there's another side, and it's in that receptive part. Like even CEOs, that we're discovering, why is meditation so important? Why did we come out with all these coloring books pre-COVID, right? That was even before the major stress and group timeout that we had. And it's because your brain gets to relax, your nervous system gets to recover, just like anyone working out needs recovery in order to go back in strong and not to just totally tear down. We all need time and that space where we're just surrendered, relaxed, just pure recovery. And I know a lot of you, you're like me, that recovery is on the list of to-dos because it leads to the objective of being super awesome, right?
Yep.
Right. And so even women will be like, I'm getting my nails done because it makes me feel good. I'm showering because it's good for me. I'm watching this TV because, right? So we got to find the ways to learn to be in that being. And when we have those moments of recovery, what comes back is we're more creative. And as entrepreneurs, and I know many of you are, you're responsible to lead the vision. You're responsible to keep creative things about where you're going next. How are you going to creatively pivot in all the pivoting we've done? We've pivoted. Everybody's like turned in circles this past couple of, right? We're doing this, then this, then this, then this, then that. And then it's like, it's been wild. And if you're in all go, 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 it's fight or flight, it's overload, it's drive, drive, drive. You don't have the same amount of creative resources. You can't hear. And for women, much of our power and much of our intuition comes through not just our heart. What is our heart telling us? What's my gut instinct? Not what is playing nice, not what is ignoring my emotions because girls don't cry. We're powerful. We're in the room. We can hang like a man. Not any of that, right? And what is my energy? What are my feelings telling me about this? And, when we disconnect from our bodies and we're all in drive and go, and then add to that the whole, we're coming a long way, but body shame. And then as soon as we start coming out, I even love the filters. We have all these filters where we can just look so amazing all the time, right? So we're always dealing with this working against our bodies versus working from in the middle of our guidance system, the spirit in the body with the temple. Where does the communication happen? It happens in the temple, not in the head. It doesn't happen just in the logic. Your logic will play the devil and the angel and the grandma and the papa and the news, everybody, right? But so for me, a lot of the reclamation for men and women, I work a lot with women, is learning to come back into the body from a place of love, not hate, and to hear those guidance system and to honor those signals. And it's hard to hear them and honor if you're at war with your body or if you're all up here. And a lot of this, my book, I wrote it for women, but I think over half the reviews are from men. So I know it applies across the board. It's just there are places I can go with women that we can't go if there are men in the room. And it's not because they aren't great men. It's because women often won't totally surrender and share their truth in a way that they will, And
I just got to throw in there so everyone knows my beautiful, my balanced, segment that I had was not planned with Adora and talking about the recovery and the going inward and the rest. But I just think that that's really
Manifestation,
cool.
baby, manifestation.
Yeah, I just think that's really cool that
We're
touched on both those
vibing.
things. But that's because I just felt like it really needed to be addressed, that whole rest. Because like you just said, you have to be in tune with yourself to know when you need to be quiet and still and recover so that you can launch forward.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Right on. Hey, so I want to give a major shout out, by the way, to Crystal Golden. Crystal Golden is the contributor of the day. She's been rocking and rolling. Crystal, see, these strategic partners that we have in here, we like to do this thing that we call a freebie one-on-one Zoom. So if you need any help to start, scale, grow your business in any way, shape, or form, hit us up in the comment. We'll make sure we'll send you, or just drop the name of the person you want to interact with, preferably with the nice hair and the beautiful smile and the perfect skin.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just saying.
Thanks, Ali.
I'm just saying. And the glasses. The glasses.
There we go. Oh, wait.
Ali D still got it. Okay. All right.
Wait,
but
Debi, wait.
There you go. There you go, Debi. All right.
Blue light
I
blocking.
see.
Let me join. There we go. Okay.
All right, right on. So definitely let us know. We'd like to hook you up with a one-on-one freebie Zoom session with a strategic partner, just to go over anything that is important, relevant to you. You want us to check any of your social media assets, work with you in any way, shape, or form. We're going to take another break and just remind every single person, I am .media, $1.50 a day. We've dropped so far 2 amazing series, and the third one is coming out this week. The first one was all about business foundation, how to find your voice, your niche, your identity. The second one was all Instagram essentials. And I don't know about you, but I got paid from Instagram, and I want you to get paid from Instagram too. So we gave you all of our secret sauce. We literally share how we create our content from our screen as we explain it to you right next to our screens as well. And Facebook Essentials is the very next video series that's about to get dropped, which is all things Facebook. That's my hub. Now we're going to take another turn to another segment, and with the amazing, the incredible, the thought leader herself, Miss Debi Salmons. She launched last week her segment, Living in Harmony, and we're talking about love and harmony today. So I think it's just another perfect day for you. Take it away, Debi.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. And just so you guys know, I did not speak to Adora either. And I did not talk to Ali D. So you guys know that I'm all about balance, because I lived a life out of balance, and now I live a life in balance, and I strive to do that on a daily basis, right? And I just know how important it is for our lives. So what does living in harmony actually mean, right? So you're gonna hear some things that are gonna sound familiar. Adora's talked about, LED's talked about. Here's how you know if you're living in harmony. If you're feeling quiet. If you're feeling quiet into the depths of your soul, you're living in harmony, right? The harmony between the physical, the mental, is the key for maintaining your health and your balance, right? And so for me, I think the first step towards having a fulfilling life and, a life filled with success and happiness, you've got to be in harmony with yourself. We've got to be more concerned with ourselves and our souls and our bodies. And above all, and in all circumstances, we have to love ourselves to stay in harmony with our souls, and therefore to stay in harmony with other people. So living in harmony, it means a few different things. It means to accept yourself and other people as they are. Living in harmony means to have strength to follow your dreams, not someone else's. Living in harmony means to choose to see the positives in any situation, right? Doesn't mean you negate that there's bad things, but see the positive. Being in harmony means you choose to see the good and the beautiful in everyone, despite any of their negative attributes. Living in harmony means you choose to forgive, to love, to bless everyone and everything. Living in harmony means to give up your mask and be yourself. Living in the here and now, right now. We can't do anything about yesterday. We can't do anything about tomorrow. Right now, living right now, you'll feel the peace and it helps you stay in balance. And as Adora said as well, we need to understand, all of us need to understand this. And this is my mission. I can't tell you how many times a day I say this to myself, to my family, to my friends, and to people that I'm coaching. You already have everything you need. Your intelligence, the gifts that Adora talked about that each of us were born with. They were ours, specific to us. We already have them all in order to get you what you want, right? And to stay in balance. But I'm going to say what everyone else said: coaches, mentors, communities. They help us to do that. Because when we go out of balance and the train goes off the tracks, coaches and mentors can catch us before we crash and get us back on track. So my hope for you is that you can live in harmony and find that peace in your soul. Back to you, Ali.
Hey, give it up to the beautiful, amazing, incredible Debi Salmons,
Good
y'all. Give a
stuff.
whole lot of virtual love. That was amazing and empowering beyond imagination. So, Adora, I want to hear from you for that one person who's like, yeah, but I get what you're saying, but this is all motivational, inspiring, but I understand where you're coming from, but can you talk to that one person? And if there's one thing that you can advise that one person, now here's step one to your 1,000-step journey, what would that be for that person?
Yeah, I think it's so individual. First, I would say, how's that but working out for you? Like, how is it working out? Because if it's not working out, and it's not, if that's where you're at, it's working to keep you safe, or you wouldn't be saying that. And you think it's keeping you safe, but it's really more of a prison than the freedom that I know your soul is calling for, So the first thing I would say is to just commit to that it's possible. And back to earlier, Ali was saying she wonders if she manifests at this next level and allowing her. And I want to echo what Ali said, and that we're all always manifesting.
Right.
So even that but life is a manifested life. Like I like to say, when you worry, you're praying for things you don't want, right?
Yep.
We're all creating and fulfilling. It's that little book, The Little Engine That Could. And if you even just start, because when I started, I'm telling you, 90% of the thoughts in my mind were negative, were critical, were doubtful, were 90%. Okay. And it didn't take a major leap to see improvements. You know what it took? It took little pockets of faith. So like little moments where, because I was taking these things in, I had a leap, and then boom, a big movement would happen. And then over time and over years, with that stock market on the rise, I would say more of my thoughts are very loving and supportive because of conditioning, right? But the good news is you don't have to wait until you're totally conditioned for things to go well. And again, to echo what's been said, mentors, community, staying in an environment that'll pull that forward. Because I'm going to tell you another secret. The best coaches, all the people that you love and admire, they all have coaches. One of our top investments is our learning and coaches and where we're reaching next. Every great athlete has a great coach, right?
That's
and
right.
It's the other part is that the best coaches, often they can't even tell you what they're going to drop or transfer to you by being in their presence. And what I mean is they know what they're masterful at, and they've got coaching and they've learned and from feedback, but there are some things that are going to fall out of their mouths in just the sidelines. Like here's one I caught from Cher. She hasn't coached me, but I can't wait till she does. But I take it as coaching. I saw her looking through, clothes and talking about, yeah, I wore this, they were asking her, what did you think of that outfit? What inspired it? And most of her answers were like, that was inspired by sex and glitter. That was inspired by sex and the color yellow. It's always like that. But they asked her, Cher, what did, when they were criticizing you because you were the first woman to show your belly button on TV she was like, you know what? I was always ahead of my time. So, and that is one of those, you catch a nugget that you didn't even, it's because her thinking is, oh, your hatred just shows I'm right on track. It just shows I'm ahead of my time. And so I worked that into my manifesto, let your haters be your elevators. Of course they're going to see it that way. I'm always ahead of my time, but if she were to write like how to be successful, I bet you it wouldn't be there. And that's going to happen when you hang out with Ali. It's going to happen when you hang out with Tokyo. When you're anybody in this room, you're going to catch things that they don't. Dennis teaches me things in his way of being, and they transfer that aren't written in any book, and so you want to get in those environments. They'll pull you. And guess what? When you first get in, you may feel highly uncomfortable because you're going to think everybody has it better than you. They're all further along. You don't belong. And you know what you do? Just take a nice deep breath. Know that everybody feels that way in some room until you get comfortable with it. And then just like going to the gym, you embrace the sore. Like I don't feel right if I'm not sore. It means I didn't really I love being sore. But I remember a time when I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. What does this mean? And it's the same in life, what you were saying, Tokyo, about challenge, when you start to get comfortable with these things and you fall in love with the process of it all, it's magnificent. But the starting point is like Jim Rohn said, if you don't believe in yourself, but you believe in anyone in this room or anything you've heard, then believe in our belief in you. And you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose and that's everything to gain.
100%. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you connect with Adora Evans, and she's going to drop some of her links and some of her information in the comments as well. And make sure you send it to me, Adora, so I can drop it everywhere else where this show is being broadcasted. And just a huge, huge thank you to mybodylegacy.com for sponsoring today's episode again and once again. And make sure you catch Adora on her upcoming tour, and that is, let me show you, the Think and Grow Rich, the tour, along with Jack Canfield. I'm sure you remember him from The Secret, Kevin Harrington, the original shark from Shark Tank, John Asraf, also from the cast of The Secret, Dr. Joe Vitale, the 4 phrases. He helped me out in a major, major way. Also from The Secret, and the one and only, the queen herself, Adora Evans. So make sure you catch her in the different tours and connect with her because she is amazing beyond our own imaginations as well. So Adora, we thank and love so much of you. We cannot wait to have you again and again and again and again because you are fantastic and incredible in every single way. We love you. Any final words before you say goodbye to us?
Yes, I had such a blast, even in the waiting room before the party started. That music you've got, all eyes on me. I'm like, why are we about to sit down? I should have stood my desk up. So I think you ought to warn people, like standing desk, if you like to dance, you might need some room. Okay. And all of you, your energy, so amazing, thought-provoking conversation. It was just such a pleasure. I love what you're up to in the world, and thank you.
Yep, you rock. You are amazing. We love you. Give it up to Adora Evans. All right, y'all. So, that was a whole lot. I don't know about you. It's a
it was.
Debi and Ali. They have picked up so much. I feel good just to be around greatness. It automatically elevates you. And speaking of elevation, speaking of motivation, we gotta turn it up to the man, the myth, and the legend, all in one body. The one and only Mr. Takoya Carlton with a moment of motivation in a segment that he started 2 weeks ago called A Motivation Moment.
Good stuff. Listen, I'm so excited, man. I'm going to give you a story. And of course, like I said, every week that we do this, a motivational moment, it could be a story. It could be something about an individual. But today's highlight is going to be the elephant and the rope. And of course, this is about belief. Again, the elephant and the rope. So again, hey, there was a gentleman walking through an elephant camp, and he spotted that it was an elephant that weren't being kept in cages or held by use of chains. All that was holding them was just a little, from escaping from that camp, was just a little piece of rope tied to one of their legs. As the man gazed upon the elephants, he was completely confused as to why the elephants didn't just use their strength, their brute strength, the God-given strength that they were given when they were born, to break the rope and escape the camp. They could easily have done so, but instead they, what, did I do something? Okay, I'm good, right? But instead they didn't try to escape at all. Curious and wanting to know the answer, he asked a trainer nearby why the elephants were just standing there and never tried to escape. The trainer simply replied, he said, listen, when they are very young and much smaller, we use the same size rope to tie them down at that age, and enough, and it's enough to hold them. As they grow up, they are conditioned to believe they cannot break away. They believe the rope can still hold them, so they don't even try to break free. Right? So the only reason that the elephants weren't breaking free and escaping from the camp was over time they adopted the belief that it just wasn't possible. See, it's so crazy how this story actually coincides with what we talked about today, or what we spoke about. Guys, all this limiting belief, all these things that are holding us down, all the things that we went through in our lives that are holding us back. And of course, we think we can't do it. We're watching other people go out and succeed, and watching other people get their lives together, watching other people go get married and get into relationships, having kids and all this stuff. And it seems like everything is going right for them, right? Because they chose to jump. They chose to understand that the rope was not stronger than their belief, not stronger than their passion, not strong enough for what they believe they can have, do, and be. So the more of the story, no matter how much the world tries to hold you back, always continue with the belief that what you want to achieve is possible. Believing you can become successful is the most important step in actually achieving it. So again, it starts with thought. As Adora said, guys, 90% of her success, 90% of her change was mental. That's when it started to change, when she thought and when she believed that she could. So with that, I send it back over to our host.
Did anybody say, give me some heat? Because I just been given a whole oven. I just been given a whole chimney. I just been given a whole jungle of fire with Tokoyo Carlton. Man, you always get us fired up as every single day that we work with you. I am so grateful for you beyond I'm just grateful for you, man, and for our partners. So here's the thing. If you're not part of our entrepreneurial community, go to iam.media. It's scrolling right down there for you. Make sure you click on ME Academy and join us. It is an average of $1.50 a day. So you can get along with some of the greats, as you've heard them today, Tokoyo Carlton, Ali Delatel, Debi Salmons, and you get to also hear from some of the amazing individuals like the great Adora Evans. Excuse me, I almost choked on that one, and much more. So if I don't talk to you between now and 8 o'clock, you're crazy. But I'm going to see you at 8 p.m. Hey, tell them peace out, everybody.
Deuces.
Later, y'all. To Your Strategic Partner podcast, where we give entrepreneurs the secrets, strategies, and processes to increase brand equity and max out revenue.